Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Tyler, and today I'm here to talk to you about my new to me 2020 GMC Sierra 2500 HD AT4 with the 6.6 liter Duramax diesel. And I just got wrapped up with this build. And for those of you guys considering 40s, I hope that this video gives you some knowledge, some intel, and lets you decide really if 40s is for you on these trucks, because we got a lot to cover here and we're gonna jump right into it. All right, y'all, so jumping right into it here, looking at the truck, we're gonna start off with the lift that I am running. So on this build, I decided to go with a 7 to 9 McGaughys lift kit. Now, a lot of y'all have questions about what does a 7 to 9 inch McGaughys mean, and how would you get it from, let's say, 7 inches up to 9 inches? And that's a good question. So if you look under here, there's my McGaughys faceplate, and this is the McGaughys premium lift kit. So it has your billet overlays. If you walk over to the side of the truck here, you'll see these kicker bars right there next to your torsion bars, and that just adds a little bit of stability. And I believe in this case it's going to be mainly for looks. That's kind of why I wanted the kicker bars and the billet overlays, but I don't know, I like it. I think it looks good. It's the exact look that I was going for. I wanted it to be powder coated in ink black, kind of to match the truck, even though the truck is like as far away it looks like it's black, but if you look real close, it's actually a gray. But I went with a 7 to 9 McGaughys kit, and I set this lift at right around 8 to 8.5 inches. In order to get that, if you look under here, there's your torsion bar drop. These are still torsion key trucks. So what I did is I turned my keys up about halfway to 3/4 of the way. And that gets me my right around 8 to 8.5 inches of lift. And what a lot of people do is they'll turn the keys all the way up on these trucks, and that really stresses out the torsion key bolt. And if you turn it up too high, it adds a lot of stress and it can snap that bolt, and that is exactly what you do not want to do on these trucks. So I turned my keys up around half to 3/4 of the way. It didn't sacrifice a whole lot of ride quality, and it made the front end a little bit stiffer. You can really tell it's a little bit stiffer. But in my case, I actually like that. I don't like a really soft front end ride. So in my case, that worked out great. With this lift kit, while I was already going to have the whole front end apart, I decided to go with kryptonite upper control arms. I didn't really do this for the structural part and aspect of it. I kind of went just for the looks, but at the same time, the stock control arms are kind of junky with all the bushings and the ball joints. So I went with kryptonite upper control arms, kryptonite ball joints, and these have all the grease fittings. So I figured kind of just for serviceability, it's pretty nice. So kind of glad I went with those while I was at it. So really happy with how that turned out. And as you can see, maybe you can tell on the video, maybe you can't, the truck does have a small lean. I'd say roughly about 1 inch. And this is just my liking. So I went with a 4.5 inch zone rear block. And that drops my rear end about 1 inch, give or take, compared to the block that the McGaughys kit came with, as you can see right there. There's a 4.5 inch lift block. So it dropped it about 1 inch. And that gave me the look that I was looking for. So pretty happy about it. Really like the way this turned out. So as far as towing goes, you guys, I still tow with this truck. This is a 11 inch drop hitch. So if you ever want to have a, pretty good tow, you want to have at least an 11 inch, 10 inch, 11 inch drop hitch. But I'm probably going to get a 12 inch because it does still angle up a trailer pretty high at the nose, and it doesn't really sit too level unless I load it forward, which I don't necessarily like to do. So I'm gonna get a bigger drop pitch. But as far as the lift itself goes, guys, I did not get the upgraded shocks. That's probably my biggest regret. I was gonna go with Fox Reservoir shocks, and I didn't. These are just your factory McGaughys shocks that they give you when you purchase a lift kit. So kind of a basic shock, even though it's a premium lift. So that's probably gonna be my biggest regret with the whole truck, is not going with Fox shocks, because I think I could have got a little bit of a better ride if I would have went with those. But I'm not too upset with it. I really do like the way the truck looks and the way the truck rides, and it does the job. It does it pretty well. I'm gonna give you guys just kind of a look right here of how it tucks these 40s. Does a pretty good job. Looks great from the side. But that's kind of the basics of the front, how I tuck them. I'm gonna show you exactly what I did now and what I had to trim. So looking at the side profile of the truck, guys, you do have to trim, and this is kind of inevitable with these square wheel well GM trucks. I really wish GM wouldn't do this, because it makes it hard to run any bigger tire, much less any sort of offset wheel. So what I did to combat my amount of trimming I'd have to do is, if you guys can see right here, it's kind of offset. Well, the reason for that is I went with a 3/4 inch Wicked Customs bumper spacer. What that does is it sets the bumper, which would have sat right here, it pushes it up forward. So that way I don't have to completely hack up my valence down here, cut into the bumper. I don't really have to do any of that. Now looking into the fender wells, my fender liner over here, it is torn. I don't really like that part of it. Hope you guys can see that because the sun's out and it's a 98-degree day and my phone's starting to overheat here in North Carolina. But I did not trim any of the fender liner down here yet. Whenever I do turn full lock, I do rub right here, but honestly, it kind of just pushes it forward. So I haven't trimmed it yet, even though I do see that coming in the future. I will definitely have to trim that. And here is how much I had to trim down here. There's your plug in your bumper. So I had to hollow that out a little bit. And right here at the valence, you just kind of gotta give it your best shot. It's not the prettiest job in the world, but it works. And then looking back here, I clear this all the way, lock to lock. In the back, I clear it completely. However, you do have to get rid of these mud flaps. It's not a big deal for me. I really don't mind the way it looks. And my next purchase is gonna be a Kelderman mud flap delete kit, so I can kind of pretty that up. I'd like to get it paint matched to these fender flares. Probably gonna paint them the same time I do these mirrors. Knock it all out at once. But yeah, guys, that's kind of what I had to trim in the front to be able to turn these 40s. And now I'm gonna show you guys what I had to do in the back to run these big old tires. So moving our way to the back, guys, it's kind of the same story as the front in the back fenders. These trucks come with mud flaps in the front, and they come with mud flaps in the rear. And I had to get rid of them, unfortunately. I will get a Kelderman mud flap delete kit for the back ordered as well. And it's not that I could have ran them, and I did run them for a while, but going straight down like this, I'm getting real close to that tire here. And when I'd hit bumps, my tires were starting to rub my mud flaps. So it started rubbing holes in them. So I had to ditch the mud flaps in the back completely, which, you know, kind of is what it is. Square wheel well trucks, GM. I really wish you guys would fix that, because it doesn't really make it easy for us big lifted guys who want to run bigger tires. But you can't get everything you want with auto manufacturers, so you kind of get what you're given. But that's kind of the trimming aspect of how that looks and how that went. Now I'm gonna hop in the truck and show you guys what the view range looks like from the inside. Alrighty guys, so inside of the truck here is your view over the hood. This is my head level you guys are seeing. And I included just a little camera view of what you're missing. Missing the whole driveway there. This truck sits from the hood to the ground right over 6 foot tall. So sitting inside of this cabin, there's a lot that you really got to sit up to see. This is sitting up close to my headliner as I can here. There's the end of the driveway. So this is a tall truck, guys. This is a really tall truck. So with these 360-degree cams, I'm using this to show you guys right here what you're missing. This is a really tall truck, guys. I want to make that very clear. If you're looking to daily drive this is 100% daily drivable. I do, to a degree, daily drive this when I go kind of anywhere in a town or whenever I tow at all. This is the truck that I take. And I do have right over 87,000 miles on this truck now. So I do drive this truck quite a bit, you guys. Never had any issues out of the lift. Haven't had to replace really anything in the 2,000 miles I've had this lift on for so far. And it's really been great. It's rode great. I have really no complaints other than view range, being able to see over the hood. Sometimes that gets me, especially whenever I'm, you know, in the town and in the city doing some city driving, which isn't all that often, but it does happen. I do get some city driving come in. So I just really wanted to show that angle to you guys. I know a lot of people on YouTube who have videos of these trucks on 40s. They don't really show you what you can and can't see. And sitting up as high as I could sit up with the camera for you guys, that's all you're gonna see. So this truck sits really high. And that's just something that you gotta think about with a truck that's on a 7 to 9, any lift, FTS, McGaughys, Super Lift, any lifts like that on 40s, anything that's over 7 inches tall. This is a tall truck, guys. I want to emphasize that. But really, if you can get over that, it's there's really no complaints. And stepping back out of the truck for you guys, it's a drop. It's a drop, guys. Stepping outside of the truck, you can this just gives you a view. I'm 6'1", and this is the mirror to my head right here. Standing straight up. This is how close I am to the mirror. And if you walk to the hood, it is just about as tall as me. So I'd say from the hood to the ground, it's probably about 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot was a little bit of a stretch, but you're getting pretty close, guys. This is not a small truck. So another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was towing. How does this truck tow on 40s? So my main concern with lifting this truck on 40s was going to be the 10-speed transmission. And really, it still is kind of a concern of mine, but the truck is still under powertrain warranty, so if it was to fail, fingers crossed they would warranty it. Probably not because of these 40s, but it's kind of the risk that I take running 40s on this truck. But I really want to discuss towing because I know a lot of people haven't. So far I have towed a 20-foot car trailer and I've hauled 3 4-wheelers. Needless to say, guys, I still have plenty of power in the low end and the top end. This truck pulls these 40s just fine. A lot of you guys may not believe me when I say that, but I drove this truck for about 4,000, 5,000 miles before I lifted it on these 40s. And really, you don't notice it a whole lot. When taking off after, like, if you're stopped at a stoplight and you take off, you definitely do notice the 40s. Really dragging. But other than that, guys, towing on 40s, hauling a 20-foot car trailer, and hauling 3 4-wheelers, it's really smooth. I can still cruise 70, 80 down the highway, posted speed limit, of course. And you really don't notice it all that much. And I figured that was a very important thing to talk to you guys about, was towing. So, you know, just something to think about when you're on 40s. You definitely feel it, but it's really all not that noticeable. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. And one thing I completely forgot to mention is I am still stock gearing. I am stock tune. I am not deleted. I'm all factory emissions because I'm still under warranty. And like I said, guys, the biggest question a lot of people have is, will this truck have enough power? The answer is yes, you have plenty. No need to worry about power. Definitely does not lack power. Transmission still shifts strong. No concerns really there yet. And for those guys that are asking, what tire did I go with? I wanted to stick with longevity. That was a big thing for me, and I've had great luck with the Toyo Open Country MTs. As you guys can see, MTs. And there's the size tire I went with for my stock 40s. I don't know how well that's showing up, but that's kind of what I went with there. And also, forgot to mention, I did not go with a 2-inch spacer on this truck. I went with a Bora 1.35 inch. It's a weird, kind of a weird number, so I call it like 1.25 inches really. But it's a Bora 1.35 inch spacer, and that only works on these factory wheels, guys. If you're running any sort of aftermarket wheel, Bora 1.35 inch spacers will not work. I did not have to trim the studs with these spacers. They fit great, and really, it fits just enough to clear these upper control arms, spindles. As you guys can see, it gets pretty close down in there. But that's all I really wanted to go with. I didn't want to have a 2-inch spacer for many reasons. Mainly because I didn't want to have to trim more than I had to. So the Bora 1.35 inch spacer is Hub-Centric, and it's more than enough to be able to fit a 1550 wide tire on this truck. So just better look at it for you guys, how it sits. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys just a detailed overview of what I thought about a 7 to 9 inch lift on these trucks and 40s. Highly recommended if you guys are thinking about it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it performs. Doesn't ride as good as stock. You definitely can feel it, especially with my keys cranked a little bit over halfway up. You can 110% feel the ride difference. It does ride a bit rougher, but nothing that I'm honestly overly worried about. So this is just in my experience, guys. If you're thinking about it, definitely think about it a little bit harder. And guys, that's gonna wrap it up for me. It's getting hot out here. North Carolina heat, it'll get the best of you. But if you guys have any questions, comments, any feedback on the video, please leave all of your comments and feedback down in the comment section below. And if you like what I post, you like this truck, feel free to subscribe. I do post automotive content on and off. I haven't been on my YouTube stuff like I was a few months ago, but I plan on getting back into it. I just like to see what you guys think, so make sure to leave any feedback, advice, any, opinions on the channel, what I should do in the future, anything like that. Just leave it in the comment section below. And again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.